Does it sound live?
Yeah.
My live! Yes! Woohoo! Let's hear it for grandmas who have YouTube channels. Go me. The only thing is, you guys, thank you. Thank you for showing up in force. This is just like so crazy fun and cool. I'm just going to say hello to some of you. Welcome, welcome. This is Story52 Kickoff, January 7th, 2021. Right over there is my awesome friend, Angela. You want to come say hi?
Sure.
She's going to come say hi. And I just did this.
Hello.
Hello. So we just did a quick Instagram story. Just because she's a moderator, she's my moderator. And I just thought that sounds very important to have a moderator. So I'm Stacy. My name is Stacy. I have a moderator. I'm super happy to be here. Okay, you guys, look. Where's my friend Linda from Switzerland?
Yeah. And also Raylan from New Zealand.
And Winnie is my coach for Photo Freedom, one of my 6 coaches. Winnie's from New Zealand, but 2 a.m., you guys. Thank you. That's amazing. So fun. So we've got Oklahoma, San Diego, Wisconsin, Texas. Happy Thursday to you, Jennifer Gilman. So good to see your name. Wish I could see your face. Yay, Debbie's here. Hi, Sue. Kelly Johnson. Woohoo! Lorna. Hi, friend Lorna. She says, oh, funny penny addition to my story. I have the penny I found and the penny Stacy sent me in a small Ziploc bag on top of my very messy desk. Last night I was looking for the bag and found 3 more pennies. 3 more pennies just under the bag. My money has grown by leaps and bounds. That's awesome. I love it. So good. Hi, Cynthia. This is so much fun. So first of all, I just want to welcome anybody. Well, everybody who is already registered for Story52, welcome. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you trusting me again with another year-long adventure. This is going to be great. I have made this public because I want to spread the word. I want as many people telling stories this year as possible. So if you are not yet registered for Story52, you're welcome here. We want you here to hear all about it, to learn about it, to interact with these awesome friends. And then if you decide to register, just don't forget that there is a promo code. It's at the top of my website. You can get $10 off. It's just capital letters, 10 off. My moderator will probably put that in the chat box. It's just capital TENOFF, 10 off. Saves you $10 because people register and I'm like, oh, could have saved yourself $10. So I just want to make sure you do that if you're not currently registered. Okay, so you guys, Angela's going to help me.
Yes.
But if you have questions, that's why I'm here, is I want to ask. I have a whole list. Look, here's my checklist of everything we're going to talk about. I got stuff to show you. I got stuff to say. Sometimes already I want to take a deep breath because sometimes I watch myself back and I'm like, slow down already. Okay, so deep breath. That's just because I'm excited and I love you and I just can't believe this is happening and that we can connect in this way. I think it's fabulous. But if you have a question, that's what Angela's going to watch for so that she can interrupt me, totally interrupt me, right? So that I get to talk to you. Okay, Carla's here. So many of you have been with me the whole last year. We did 2020 together, which was awesome. And so I'm seeing so many friends. Veronica's here, Mara, Glory, hi Glory, Summer, Karen, I love it. Christina, yes. Linda says, my enthusiasm is infectious. How about at 2 a.m.? What do you think? Kim. So, I love this already. I am going to read this one. Kim says, my first Story52 pages were so different than what I would have created much more interesting. So I think that's one of my goals, is to be able to tell some different kinds of stories. And I'm going to talk about that. Amy's checking in from Austin. Hey, Sydney, Australia, Rachel. That's super awesome. Also, I got lots of Canada, lots of Canadian friends. Hello, Alyssa. Yay, Michelle, Kate Duval. Okay, you guys are awesome. You keep checking in. You keep talking to me. Newfoundland. Sandra, let's do an event. I want to come to Newfoundland. Should we do a party in Newfoundland? You and I should talk. And my moderator will come with me, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to start right off the bat, just in case you haven't heard. And here's the thing with online classes, right? I can't see your faces. I don't know who's read what. So we're just going to start from the top for a minute. This class features something I created called the StoryDeck. It's a deck of 25, I keep saying 25, but I think it's 24. Doesn't matter. It's 24, 25 really cute printed cards, okay, in 4 categories. Now, mine are already separated, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. But when you register for this class, my wonderful assistant, she's in another state. She's in Idaho. I am in Washington, by the way, Washington State, not Washington, D.C., Washington State on the far corner, northwest corner of the United States, and I am on the border of Washington and Idaho. Like I can shop in Idaho or I can shop in downtown Spokane. Side note. My assistant, Nicole, when you register, once a week, she gathers all of your names and addresses, and she is sending out story decks. Please don't panic if you don't have a story deck yet, okay? Most likely it's on its way. If you feel like it's been too long, you're absolutely welcome to send us an email. You can use the contact form over at stacyjulian.com and just say, hey, heads up, Nicole, Stacy, or Stacy. I haven't received my story deck, and she can check her records and let you know if she sent it to you. Okay, super fun. All right. Oh, there's my friend who grew up in Seattle, Connecticut. That's a long way away, Carrie. I grew up in Seattle as well. Only I'm now only on the other side of the state. So the story deck, the whole idea is that each week, Story52, right? 52 weeks in 2021, we're going to create, I shouldn't even say make. We're going to tell a story every week in 2021. Now, for me, most of the time, those stories are going to look like they're going to be scrapbook pages. I'm a scrapbooker. I love to scrapbook. I think some of my stories are going to be different sizes, but I think the vast majority of them are going to be 12 by 12 pages, okay? But your stories it can be a journal entry. It could be a blog post. It can be however you want a story to look. Go for it, right? I think the vast majority of us are scrapbookers, so that's exciting. But here's where it gets really fun. And especially if you're scrapbooking, quite often with as many photos as we have, and for many of us, we like to say and we like to believe we're super far behind, right? I don't believe that that's true, but it really is helpful to have what I call rails. In other words, give me somewhere to start and tell me kind of how to approach this story, because my head is full, right? My brain is full of awesome memories. My computer is full of digital images. I probably have boxes in my craft area if you have one of those, or under your bed or your card table or whatever, right? So that's the beauty of the story deck. I am not prescribing, or I'm not telling you how to scrapbook. You can do it any way you want, with an app, traditionally, digitally, whatever. You can use any product. You can subscribe to kits. I want to ask you about kit clubs because I think I need to get some product coming into my house. I'm a big stasher scrapbooker. I scrapbook with my stash.
Oh, I never considered my stories might not be scrapbook pages.
Yay! Yeah, I think so. I think we need to give ourselves the opportunity, right, to do things differently. And life is going to happen. So I would much rather you say, I don't have time this week to create a scrapbook page, but what I'm going to do instead is, right, tell a story in some other way. What if you just pulled out your phone and recorded a story? That would be kind of cool. You can upload audio recordings to like familysearch.org, ancestry.com. There's so many different ways to document and then preserve, archive stories. All right, side note, what a good question. All right, anyway, so back to this story deck. Now, this is where each week you get to deal yourself a hand. It's like we're playing a card game, right? And like you deal yourself your hand and then you turn them over and you have to make a page. Like if I were to, right, deal my category cards. So I got to go slow. There are 4 categories, there are four types of cards. The first type of card is a category card. And if you've been with me a while, you know this. You're like, oh my gosh, here she goes again. She's always talking about us, people, places, and things. That's because those are big buckets that help us tell stories about different aspects of our life, okay? And I'm not going to get into all the detail because I actually made a video that's on the How It Works. It's in the How It Works post over in our classroom at stacyjulian.com. You can watch that video and learn all about the cards, okay? But I am going to say that there are 4 types. There's category cards that tell you the type of story to tell, okay? Then there's cards that are called Start Here that say, hey, This time, start with the story. And you're like, well, don't I always start with the story? No, we don't. Sometimes we start with product because we got a fun shipment in the mail and we just want to lay out pretty papers. Sometimes, most of the time, I think we start with photos. But we're going to challenge ourselves to start in different ways. Let's start here cards, okay? Then we have say it with cards, okay? And I just think using words on your pages, right? Some journaling. I have seen already, can I just stop and tell you, this morning, I spent about 40 minutes in the Facebook group. Whatever, you guys, there's already some amazing stories being told. So the writing is so inspiring. I cried 3 times, probably 3.5 times. I cried because it was touching and it was personal and it was deep and it was detailed and I was so, so, so proud of you already. Anyway, but with the say it with card, when you deal yourself a say it with card, you might be challenged to try something new. Like somewhere on your page, you need to create a definition. Act like the dictionary. It says make like the dictionary and spell it out. So maybe you'll spell it out. You know how they do that little thing in the dictionary to show you how to pronounce a word or where the emphasis goes. Maybe you'll do that. Maybe you'll just include a definition. Maybe you'll define a word yourself. Maybe you'll define, what are those words called that we use in families? Kind of like family vernacular. I don't know.
Oh.
Secret, we go, oh, that's an inside joke. Maybe you'll just define something that you say or your family says that'll be fun, okay? But say it with cards. That helps you narrow your actual words, the journaling on your page and challenges you to try something new. And then, my favorite, go wild cards, okay? So go wild cards are just kind of a challenge on top of all those other challenges. So you might have to use a certain phrase on your page somewhere. You might have to include a joke or a riddle or a pun or a poem. You might have to play with emojis. You might have to start or include a sketch, okay? You might have to be inspired by a particular color combination. So you get the idea. I think you've heard me talk about these cards enough, but just in case we have people here who are not familiar with what Story52 is all about, I just messed up my stack. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. So fun all year class. We're going to tell 52 stories and we're going to do it with the story deck. All right. So the purpose, I kind of already said the purpose, but I'm a big believer that we can and should have fun. And I think that sometimes life gets heavy. Life has felt heavy the last couple of days again in our country. Okay. Yes. So I'm not saying that you don't pretend that it's not happening. I'm just saying that you create some intention around what you have the ability to create. And I still believe that even when life gets heavy and feels heavy and is heavy, right, you can choose to have fun. My wonderful friend, Angela, is going through cancer for the 3rd time?
9th.
2nd time.
9th.
9th?
Yeah, I've been fighting it since I was 42.
She's been fighting cancer on and off since she was for 9 years. 9 years. And you know what? She's an amazing card maker. She makes the darn cutest cards and she's involved in online groups. And I just love her. And she's an example to me of what I'm talking about. So this is not only a class, it's a community where we are going to show up and decide to have fun together, regardless of what's happening outside, right? In our homes, in our communities, in our countries, whatever. All right. So I just wanted you to hear me say that. It's about story and it's about fun, intentional, purposeful fun. All right. In the classroom, in case you haven't been there and haven't gone exploring yet, because there is a Go Wild card that will direct you to start with a sketch or with colors, there are 2 posts. Our classroom is just a blog style classroom, meaning there's different kinds of content in different areas of the classroom. So I want you to look for the color post and the sketch post. And each month I'm going to provide you with 4 new color combinations and 4 sketches. Stacy loves to push deadlines. So like today, January 7th, I finally got my 4 sketches up. Okay, they're there. So, I might be a little slow, but I'm going to deliver. Okay. But I wanted you to know about that. And then, of course, I keep layering on stuff. I decided that on top of all of the other things I'm giving you, we ought to have a monthly challenge because you don't feel challenged enough, do you? Don't answer that. So for example, and if you go, so every month will have its own post. So right now, currently, there is a January post in our classroom. At the very top of the monthly post, will be stated the monthly challenge. So this month, our monthly challenge happens to be around color because I'm a huge color fiend. I love color, I crave it. Pantone every year, right, is the international color community. They create the language that designers and all kinds of people use. And I'm sure you know this. But they have a color every year. And recently, multiple years, they've had 2 colors. And this year, they have 2 colors. And it's a yellow and a gray. So your challenge this month on one of your pages or stories will be to use the colors yellow and gray. So you're like, but Stacey, you just told us we don't have to make scrapbook pages. You don't. Maybe your story is a journal entry and you're going to take, and maybe you're going to use pens that are yellow and gray, or use colored pencils or whatever, or flag it with a yellow and a gray Post-it. I don't know. Be creative and, take on the challenge if you can. Of course, you don't have to do any of this. This is just there for you to have fun. Okay. In each monthly post, that's really about me sharing every Friday. Every Friday an email goes out. Tomorrow's email is already scheduled. It will leave at 6 a.m. my time, okay? And it will reveal my card combination for the week, as well as the page that I made. So I'm working 1 week ahead of you just so that I can give you a new card deck combo and then show you the page that I made. That's in the January post. But also in the sidebar of our classroom, there is a button that says Stacey's Gallery. Okay, and if you click that, you go to a different location in our classroom, and that's where you'll see some additional images, and maybe I'll pop in a little video if I want to show you something about a page, maybe during the process, or just how maybe it's got some interactive element. So I'll try to post little videos from time to time as well. So the gallery, what might, not now necessarily, but come July, the gallery will be a great place to go to peruse pages that I have made. Okay, now speaking of pages that I have made, more important are pages that you will make and have already made. And so for you to truly interact, that happens over on Facebook in our private Facebook group. All right. And there's a button on the sidebar. There's a button in the How It Works post. There's buttons in most of the emails we send out. In other words, links to the private Facebook group. I checked just before I went live tonight. There were no member requests. So because it's private, you do have to request, to be admitted. But we're already having a lot of fun over on Facebook. So much sharing going on. And I am already loving the pages, like I said, that I've seen there. We're learning together about the power of hashtags. So I've created a hashtag for every one of our StoryDeck cards so that when you create a layout, a page, a story, again, doesn't have to be a scrapbook page. If you create some kind of story and you want to share it in the Facebook group, then when you upload that image, when you post that image, also add the 4 tags that correspond to the StoryDeck cards that you used or that guided your creativity, okay? And you can search for posts by me to find that hashtag post. And we've tweaked them a couple times already, just to make sure that the tags and the searches and the pages all stay in that private group so that we can maintain our privacy. Okay. All right. I think I talked about like what constitutes a story or a page, because sometimes a thought that I had is I might not necessarily want to make a full page. Maybe I want to go back to one of my albums and I want to update a story. Maybe I want to add some layers on top of a page that I've already created. So I think that counts as a story. I think any size counts. I think if you want to do a little mini book one week, that counts, obviously. So there's just lots and lots of ways that you could, if you wanted to do, in 20 and 20 last year, many of you were there. So you know that the definition of a project, which last year our focus was projects, is pretty broad, right? It's a goal that you have, that has a start and a finish and a plan that you follow and you execute on that plan. And I think that goes for this class as well. So if you want to hang up some pictures in your house and call that a story this week, on a particular week, I think you can do that. We're super, super flexible here. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Yes.
Margaret wanted to know, what is this mini all about?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Margaret. That's such a good question. And Lorna has already shared about that. So in the pre-class, like when our classroom opened 6 weeks or so ago, I created an initial page just to kind of show, what this looks like. And it was just part of the process that I encountered as I dealt myself 4 cards. Is I had saved a penny. I had picked up a penny with my daughter Addie. I'd stuck it in my pocket. I was supposed to start your card with memorabilia. And I was thinking about that, but I went to get undressed and I reached my hand in my pocket and I pulled up my penny and I decided for this particular story that anything you save is memorabilia, right? So I decided to use my penny. And then, so I used a penny on that page about Addie, and it was just a really fun story to tell. But then as I was posting that and thinking about it, I thought, wouldn't it be fun if when I send you a story deck, I also send you a penny? Because I would like a penny. It's a penny for your thoughts, right? That's kind of, so talk about, I just keep layering on the challenges, okay? So at some point this year, you have a penny, and I want you to use that penny to help you tell a story. And already, like if you go to that post in the classroom and go down to the discuss board, and let me talk about that for a minute, you will not believe all the fun and crazy inventive ways that people are suggesting and deciding to use their pennies already. This morning, Janelle posted a page where she, I think, moved her oven or something. And you know how in 2020 appliances have taken forever to come? Anyway, I think she moved an appliance. I want to say it was an oven, and found a penny. So it's just so fun to see how people are talking about and wanting and using their pennies. So let's talk about the discuss board for a minute. It's an additional way for you to interact and ask questions, okay? So at the bottom of every page at stacyjulian.com, so every post in our classroom, if you scroll all the way down, there's a message board, and it's discuss, D-I-S-Q-U-S. Discuss. So it helps to set up a little account with Discuss. You don't have to. You can also log in with Google or Facebook, okay? But be logged in. It just makes it easier. And then you can post a comment. You can also add an image, okay? So you can do some sharing in the classroom. If you're one who's just like, I'm not on Facebook, I don't necessarily want to be on Facebook, you still have that option. It's also a really great option, honestly, for if you have a specific question you want to ask me. When someone comments on the discuss board, I get an email. And I have chosen not to turn on, crazy notifications over on Facebook. So I don't necessarily see every, thing that you say on Facebook. I have certain days a week that I check in on Facebook and I spend time there, and I want to spend time there and interact. But if you have a specific question, you might get an answer more quickly. Is that correct grammar? If you use the discuss board. You are also welcome as a registered student to just email me, stacy@stacyjulian.com. Please know that I lose email. You are not going to offend me. Email me 17 times. I promise that eventually you'll hear back. Okay, so I just wanted to say that. All right. Okay, I think we're doing good. We've talked about like how the classroom works. We've talked about ways that we can interact. Here's one more thing. We're going to do this again. We're going to do live sessions. I think for this class, we're just going to use YouTube. I think it'll be fun. Most of the time, they'll be private, which means that they'll be available to you as a registered member of our community. So I've got those sessions scheduled. It's the first Friday of every month. I'm going to rotate through times of the day just to accommodate, right, a broad audience, a global audience. And then, of course, they will be recorded and available. So if you can't come and interact live, I totally get it. It's okay. We'll miss you, but they'll be there for you to watch after it's over. Okay. But here's the thing. So those are in the classroom on the sidebar. So if you go into any post and then there's a sidebar, you'll see a little calendar. And when something is scheduled on a day, the number is kind of grayed over. If you click on that number, then it opens up, but it tells you, what's happening that day. Okay, so I have live sessions scheduled through July. And then when we get into, April or so, I'll schedule the next quarter out, just so that you can also plan on those. All right. Here's a question from Karen. I asked to be added to Facebook a couple of days ago. I wonder if I signed up in the wrong place. Could you explain that? Yes. Can I explain that?
I'll
Go see. You
Yeah.
know what? Angela's going to check for you, Karen, and see if I checked right before I logged in, or right before I started tonight, and I didn't see any member requests. So how about request again? And the way I would do it is from one of the emails I sent you or from the classroom, click on that Facebook button. And and if you don't end up in the Facebook group, then there should be a place where you can request membership again. So I don't know what happened, but if you would do that for me, just try it again, and let's see if we can get it to work the second time. Okay. All right. Okay, now I want to talk about the different ways that you can approach these cards. Okay. And so I've already talked about, like, tonight I am going to, in front of you, right? I'm going to, how do I say it? Deal myself. I always get super confused. I'm going to deal myself a new hand for story number 3. Okay, so again, I'm a week ahead, but tonight I'm going to show you what my card combination is for my 3rd story. So I'm going to do this every Friday. I'm going to deal myself a new hand for the following week. And I think you could do that. You could do it on Fridays with me. So when that email comes, you can deal yourself a hand. Anytime you want to, you can, and especially in the beginning, if you're just like, I don't really get all these different ideas and things that I'm supposed to be following. And if it feels more overwhelming than fun, then just follow me. Does that make sense? Do what I do, or hop over on Facebook and pick someone's page that you like, and you're like, hey, like, as you scroll through and you're like, I really like the way she told that story. Then guess what? Use those same parameters. In other words, borrow her hand in the card game. And even if you wanted to do that through January, and just kind of follow me or someone else and kind of get in the groove, and then you can deal yourself a hand. All right?
Stacey, Wendy had a question.
Yeah.
Will your lives be the same time every day?
No. So that's a really good question. The lives will always be on the first Friday of the month, and I've scheduled that through the end of 2021. So obviously something could happen, but I'm going to try very hard to guard those times. Actually, there's already an exception to that now that I said that, because I think there's a family reunion in July, and so it's the 2nd Friday. And I think there's one other month where it's the 2nd Friday. But that's why go look at that calendar and get those lives down. Because there is, I know for sure that I'm gone the 1st Friday in July. So we're going to do the 2nd Friday. But I'm trying to be as consistent as possible, but the times will be different. But through July, I've got the times posted over in the classroom. So you can definitely, and there's also, if you go to the How It Works post, there's also a time converter. So you can put in, everything I post is Pacific time where I live, but you can put in your location and it will tell you what time it is for you if you get, because I sometimes get super confused by that. Okay. Kathy Lamb wants to know if that's my new printer behind me. It is. That's my new printer. My old printer is right here and it's almost out of ink. So I'm using it some of the time until it totally is gone. The new printer, I'm not totally in love with it yet, but I am in like with it. It's fine. It's just, and it's not like it's doing anything wrong. It's just like you load the paper different. You got to push the buttons different. So I'm a little like, it just doesn't quite feel comfortable yet. But I like the photos that I printed have turned out beautifully, and I'll show you one tonight. And the reason I really, really like it is I was able to sign up for instant ink or whatever it's called.
I have that.
Do you have that?
Yes, it reads. So it reads.
Yeah.
When you're getting low and sends you your ink and mail.
Did you hear that? So it reads when my ink is getting low and automatically sends ink to me.
Yep.
So no more does Stacey have to go and run to Staples because she thought she had ink and she doesn't. So anyway, I'm excited about that aspect of it. Okay.
Stacey.
Yeah.
Another thing is Anna Johnston gave a good idea. She says that she deals her next hand as soon as she posts on Facebook.
I love it. Thank you, Anne. That's what I want you to do. I want you to just come up with your plan. Your plan doesn't have to be my plan, but just as soon as you do whatever, make it a part of your routine. You do laundry and you deal yourself a hand. If you're the kind of person that needs to have a little more ramp up, like you need to have, a week to think about it, then deal yourself a hand for this week and deal yourself a hand for the next week. You could pin them up on a bulletin board. right? And then that way you're inviting your brain to start to process and go, oh yeah, I'm going to tell a people story and then I'm going to tell a places story. And so you can just give your brain, right, some space to start thinking about those things. Yep. Okay. And then you can, okay, my thought was, I'm just going to take a full deck every time and I'm just going to deal myself a hand. And this is interesting to me because I've already changed my mind, which we have the prerogative in this class to change our mind. Okay. But I've already decided that I am going to set aside certain hands, certain cards. So for example, the first 2 pages I made, I happened to randomly, deal myself the say it with interview card. So I've approached my journaling on 2 pages interview style. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do that anymore. So I am taking out, and so the other, okay, hold on, I have a thought here. Hang on. I want to look at all the start here, or the say it with cards so I can do this with you. Yeah.
Can I answer some of the questions for you?
Yes.
On here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Angela's gonna, if Angela knows the question, she's gonna answer for me, which is awesome. Yes. Okay, and you guys can be talking to each other. That's the whole point. We're here to connect. So in the say it with, cards, there, you can say it with a letter, say it with, with a list. So anyway, I want to take out, see this beautiful interview card? I'm taking that out and I'm setting it aside, and I'm going to show you where it's going actually in a minute, okay? Because I'm like, I'm good. And so until I go through all the other say it with cards, so I think what I'm actually going to do, because I'm really interested in telling a variety of stories and kind of being challenged, right, by that. So I think after I've used a card, I'm going to set it aside so that I can't draw it the next week. You could decide to do that as well. If you're like, Stacy, I think your Us People Places thing is super fun, but I just don't really have a lot of stories to tell maybe about people outside my family, then guess what? Take out the people card. You don't have to use the people card. If you have, or on the other hand, if you're like, I really do have, like, I haven't scrapbooked my grandparents or my siblings or my cousins, and I want to do a page about, maybe just pin up the people card and just say, I'm going to spend the entire month of January telling people stories. So I'm not going to deal a category card each week. I'm just going to deal the other 3, knowing that January is a focus on people stories. And then you can change your focus. So you get to play this card game however it best serves your storytelling. And I think that's awesome and fun. Okay, so for example, with the category cards, there go wild cards. Okay, so I've already told a places story. I'm setting that aside. And this week I told a people story. So I'm setting that aside. So I only have 2 category cards left. So I am going to put those down in front of me. Can you see me? I'm going like this in front of me. Okay. And I'm going to draw one. All the things. Okay. So I am going to tell a things story this week. All right. And then the other goes back. Okay. And then now I'm going to do the start here cards. And I already pulled out, let's see. And I don't mind starting, like I'm happy to start with whatever it tells me to start with, okay? Although starting with a technique was a challenge for me. So if I pull that again, I'm not going to be very happy. Oh, I'll be fine. Okay, but anyway. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to pick one. Here we go. Photos. So this week I'm telling a story about something in the all the things category, and I'm going to start with photos. That's kind of exciting, okay? And I'm putting all my other cards over here in the pile. Okay, and now I'm going to do the say it with cards. And I already pulled out my interview because I want to interview. I don't want to go interview style again. I'm laying out all my say it with cards and I'm mixing them up. I shouldn't be having this much fun. Okay, here we go. And ready. What did I say? Oh, tribute. Express the utmost gratitude, respect, or admiration for something. Okay, so I'm going to tell a thing story starting with photos. I'm going to pay tribute with my journaling, and those say it with cards go back in the pile. And now the go wild cards, super, super fun. And I don't think, yeah, oops. Okay, here we go. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. And I think actually, you know what though? I am going to pull out the ones I've already done because there's so many go wild cards. I want to just try something new. So I've already done make it big. I'm going to pull that out And I've already done mix it up. So I'm going to pull that out as well. Okay. All right. Turn it back over. Here we go. Stacy is picking my Go Wild card. Linda says, I love the flexibility of this class. Me too. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ready? Go Wild. Oh my gosh. Play with emojis. Okay. I'm a huge emoji fan. You know this if you get my emails. So, okay, that's fun. I'm going to tell a things story. I'm going to start with photos. My journaling is going to pay tribute, and somehow I'm going to have to incorporate some emojis. Super fun. All right, you guys, that is my current hand for story number 3. What I have left then are the cards that I will draw from next week. And what I'm going to do is stick a rubber band around them. Okay, and then next up, I'm going to show you, make sure that I'm following my outline. Yeah. So this is, some of you will recognize this. It's an iteration of something that if you happen to, some of you probably did take a class with me many moons ago called 12. Guess what? It was in 2012. I really like numbers.
Yes, you do.
20, Story52, 12. Okay. This is what I call an ideation file. Okay. And this is my Story52 ideation file. All right. So it's just a plastic bin from Target. If you already have an ideation file from 12, just use it, right? But what I did, it's nothing super fancy, you guys. I just made little cardboard dividers, right? This one says us, all right? And then there's people, places, things. So, and that's just because, and then I'm not done yet. And so when I might actually write this up. This is one of the extras, the extra tools that I love to teach about in Photo Freedom. So if you're signed up for Photo Freedom, we're going to talk much more about ideation, which is the process of, right? Once you have a system in place, it's the process of coming up with ideas. The StoryDeck is an ideation tool, really. So this is going to help me if I am thinking of, and I think this probably has happened to you, if I'm thinking of a particular story that I think would be fun to tell, okay, I'm going to write that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to print little lists, right, that I clip to the front of those sections. So I'm going to have a little list of us stories and a little list of people stories and places and things, so that so that if I draw like I did just now, I drew a things card. So let me look behind things, because then as I'm cleaning up my space and I'm going through things and I'm organizing and just life comes in bits and pieces, sometimes I'm like, hey, that really feels, it has a little bit of urgency with it, right? I think I would love to really include that, make that a part of one of my stories. So, so this was fun. So behind my things tab already, okay, here, this is kind of fun. For years, this is the thing. For years, I have subscribed to Brian Andreas's emails called Story People. Now, Brian Andreas actually goes by a new name now, and he's moved to Montana, and he's had some kind of transformation in his life. I actually think he went through a divorce, and it was pretty messy. And anyway, but I've been following him for years. He's an artist. He's a poet. I love what he does. I get his emails, but for years, I subscribed to, so this is an older version of his emails, what I'm trying to say, called Story People. And I used to save these all the time. And so I came across this, and to me, it has so much relevance for where we are right now at the beginning of 2021. See if you don't like this. The title of this poem is called Falling into Place. Deciding everything is falling into place perfectly, as long as you don't get too picky about what you mean by place or perfectly.
I want a copy of that.
Angela wants a copy of that.
Yeah.
So that's behind my thing tab. That would just be really fun. And I could just I could just include those words on a page. I could do a thing, right? I could talk about this thing, this thing that I collect emails. I also collect Seth Godin emails. So I could just do a page about things like emails that I like and subscribe to. Anyway, so that's one of the things behind my thing tab. All right.
Stacey,
yes.
Jan wanted you to recap the 4 cards because she doesn't.
Oh, okay. I will do that. Don't let me forget. I'll do that.
Okay.
Real quick, I just want to spend a little more time in this ideation file just to give you some ideas. Okay. I found this. at a vintage store recently, and it says, "We were there, World's Fair, Spokane, Washington." I had to buy it because I was there. I was 9 years old in 1974 at the World's Fair. And what the heck? I live here now. So again, I grew up in Seattle, other side of the state. And when I was a young girl, we came to the World's Fair in Spokane. And I just found this bumper sticker. I'm like, I'm buying that and sticking that behind my things thing because that'd be fun to just talk about the World Fair. Okay, so I think you get the idea. Here, let me just show you like places. This is another thing that I came across. I came across I worked at Safeway, which is a grocery store here in the States. In some of the states, I should say. Hello, my name is Stacy. I was a deli girl at Safeway, and I was also a checker. And then my son, Chase, worked at Safeway. So this is a place story. I think it would be super fun to tell the story of Safeway and talk about how we both worked there. That's just kind of a fun thing, right? And maybe I could go and take pictures of the produce. I mean, just, or make a list, include my grocery list. I mean, so lots of different things we could do. All right. So, yeah.
Can I see your poem? Someone wants you to type it in.
Oh, yes. Yep. And it's Brian Andreas, and I'll spell that for you. Or I think he goes by Kai Sky. Anyway.
I'll research it.
Yeah. Okay, so this again is the ideation file. So I am keeping my story deck, the cards I'm going to draw from, have a rubber band around them, in the front of my ideation file. The cards that I've pulled out until I have to put them back in the, I can't think of the word I want, back in the deck, are just loose. Does that make sense? So this is what I'll pull out to draw my next set of cards from. Okay, back here, I have just, well, first of all, I have my little clipboard. That is what I have to do to create content for this class. That stays in here. I like to just organize things so that I can find it all together. And then I just have this. It's got some journaling pins. It's got my adhesive, little scissors. So if I want to journal on a page, I can just grab it and go. I can just grab my bin and go. Anyway, that's what my ideation file is. Again, not fancy, but totally doable, and I think super useful so that you can kind of corral it all together. Okay, now, Jan. Where's my friend Jan? Okay. Jan, there are 4 types of StoryDeck cards, okay? The first one is a category card, and it will tell you, and again, and maybe you're not signed up, I don't know. If you're registered for Story52 already, then in the classroom on the How It Works page is a video, and I go card by card and talk about each one, okay? But a category card, there's 4 categories that we tell stories inside of, okay? And that is us, stories about us, me and my immediate family, people that we love, admire, interact with, right? That have relationships with that are outside our family. And so that's friends, that's coworkers. It could be a famous person. I mean, okay. And then there's places. So places to remember. What are the places you want to remember that you want represented in your story? And this approach, if you're not super familiar with me or kind of the way I organize things, it's a non-chronological approach to scrapbooking, which I think is so liberating, because if you've been a person, and there's nothing wrong with this, if you've been a person who is focused on events, just scrapbooking kind of the events in life, or maybe you've made an annual album or a yearbook or whatever you want to call it, that's awesome. That is fabulous. That is documenting. I think, kudos to you. I feel like there's a difference. I feel like there's more available to you in the realm of storytelling when you break out of that approach, at least some of the time. It doesn't have to be all the time, but some of the time, because you can then do some weaving and some connecting across time and across place, and you can use photos from different places. And I got to talk faster because I got to show you my pages. But so what I'm trying to say is, if the category cards give you kind of a focus for your story. It's people, it's us, it's people, it's places, or it's all the things, all the other things. Okay, and again, that video is in the classroom and it'll walk you through it. That's the category card. That's one of the types of cards. You deal yourself one every week. Then the next type of card is start here, and it just gives you a place to start with your page. So you might start with, that's not the right one, sorry. You might start with your words, okay? So when you draw or when you deal yourself a start here words card, you're not even gonna look at the photos. You're not even gonna go looking for photos. You're gonna think to yourself, you know, and depending on the category, maybe it's the category is things, and you're going to sit down and type up, right, the words to a tradition that you honored when you were a little girl. You're like, I totally want to document this, tell the story of this particular tradition, and I'm going to type up the words first. And then you're going to decide how, if you want to, how you'll illustrate that. And you could go to Google and grab an image. You could go find a picture from your stash. So you could create your own, you know, illustration of some kind. So anyway, start here tells you where to start with this story. You might end up starting with memorabilia. So many of us have collected memorabilia for years in various files, and yet we forget to include it, or it just feels like, how do I do it after I've made this beautiful page? So maybe go start with the memorabilia and let that, you know, direct kind of the design of your page. You know how big it is. Think about how you want to incorporate it. Do you want to put it in a pocket? Do you want to make it the background? But start with the memorabilia first. Start the creative process with the memorabilia. So that's the start here cards. The next ones are say it with, and that gives you just fun ways to approach your journaling. So that's where list it, you know, use a list, okay? Date and time, get really specific about when and where specific things happened in your story. So that's the say it with cards. And then the final cards are the go wild. And that's where you just have lots of fun with, you know, making, you know, including something that's laughable. So then somewhere on your page, you include a riddle or a joke or a pun or a poem. There's one that's all about including certain phrases like once upon a bright blue sky. So it's just kind of a fun little challenge. Like, I want you to go wild and see where in your story or on your page you can include those elements, okay? So those are the 4 types of cards that we have in a story deck. Good question, Jan. Okay.
Poem's done.
Okay, there's a question here. Becky, I was thinking the same as it signed me in from last time. Okay, if you guys have questions, if I missed a question, let me know, Angela. All right, what I want to do now is I really want to show you my first 2 pages and just kind of talk you through the process. And then you guys had a really important question. One of you did, and I want to show you what I do, okay? So first of all, and this is already in the classroom, but if you're not in the classroom, if you haven't visited the classroom yet, you may not have seen it. So my first story number 1, was a place story. It was, I needed to start with, now I can't remember. Oh, start with the words. I had to start with the words, interview style, and my go wild card was go big. Okay, so I enlarged a big photo of the main area of our home at Christmas. I started with the words, but I didn't start with the photo. I started with the words. So at dinner, this was the Sunday after Christmas, I put a little journaling card by every person's plate at dinner, and I said, we are going to stay when we're done eating. We're going to go around the table and just talk about what you love about our home at Christmas time. And every person at the table wrote what they love about Christmas on one of these journaling cards. So I have their handwriting. Okay, does that make sense? My son Trey talked about Christmas Eve, spending Christmas Eve together. So it was a small group. My married son was with his wife's family. My youngest son is on a mission. So we're the 5 of us. And he talked about that. And so I put that photo on the back of his journaling. My daughter Addie talked about the Santa Claus collection that we have and the snowballs that she fights with her dad with. She has snowball fights. Okay. So after they wrote the words, I started with the words. After they wrote the words, and it's interview style, meaning I asked them a question and they responded. Then I went and found a photo to use with that particular journaling. And again, they're photos that depict our home at Christmas time, okay? So you get kind of the idea. Now, here's the question that popped up that is so good, and I'm going to do it right here in front of you so that I wish we had an overhead camera. Did you know I learned this? Talk about grandmas with YouTube channels. You have to have 1,000 subscribers. It's probably not going to happen for me for a while. No. Before you can go live on a mobile device.
On a mobile device?
Yeah. So I can go live right here from my computer, from my webcam. Mm-hmm. But if I want to go live on my phone, I have to have 1,000 subscribers. Oh. Who knew? But the reason, I don't know what the reason is, but what I'm saying is then I was thinking about, oh, I'll just, flip my phone around and show you shooting down, but I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to put these back in my envelope. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So again, hang on just 1 second, because I'm going to show you this. Okay. Here's what we're going to do for the ease of demonstrating. I'm going to put just this photo back because it's not as thick that way. Okay. So my page is like this. And the question that was asked, which is such a good question because I love interactive pages, is what, you have to stick your arm down here every time? No, you don't. What you do is you put your page in a protector. I happen to love, and I am going to promote them right now because they're my favorite. And I've had to replace entire albums of page protectors. My favorite are close to my heart, page protectors. They're so sturdy and awesome. I'm just going to say that. Okay, so I put my page in a page protector, and look, what I want to do is I'm going to cut my page protector. And you're like, really? Yes, I am. I love it because it makes it easier. So I'm just going to draw where I want to cut, right on top of the page protector. But I'm going to draw a little smaller, okay? And I'll show you what I mean by that, okay? So I'm going to cut myself a square right here. Okay, can you see what I just did? You guys see that? I took my marker, my Sharpie marker, and I just I just drew a little rectangle right there where I want to cut. And I know if I cut there, I'm going to be able to reach down. I'm going to be able to pull the cards out. Okay, now what I do is I take chipboard, okay, and I stick it down inside my page protector. And guess what I can see now? Exactly where I need to cut, a little bigger, okay? So then I take my...
You're getting your subscriber.
Whoopsie daisy. Oh, here we go. Take my super sharp X-Acto cutter knife, craft knife, and I can totally, and I don't use a ruler. Don't make this hard. It doesn't have to be perfect. I ooze imperfection. This is a good thing, right? And I just take my craft knife, and I actually cut not quite a bit, a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger than the box that I drew on my page protector, okay?
Denise said this is a genius idea.
Ah, thanks, Denise. And I just cut my page protector like so. And sometimes I have to go back and fix it. That's okay. And then I pull it off. Oops, I didn't cut all the way. Okay. And then I pull it off. So now you can see I cut it bigger. You can kind of see I drew it. And then I cut around it a little bigger, okay? And now I can pull out my chipboard. And now, I can take my cards and I can just insert them into my envelope, okay? See? Like that. And it's really easy. I made my box wide enough that I can access the lip on my envelope. So I can just put them in like that. And now when someone's flipping through my album, it's very easy for them to pull those cards out and read the journaling and then put them back in that little envelope. All right? Isn't that fun? So I do that all the time in my scrapbooks. Like I want to show you. Let's see if I can find another one. I know I can. I won't be gone very long. Let's see. Oh, I know. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so that was week number 1 page. This is an older page. This is an older page, and it says my brothers, and it's just some older photos of how I remember my little brothers growing up. Okay, and tucked behind this corner of this photo is a little glassine, almost like little paper bag. Okay, and then look right here. I can just pull out this journaling. You see that? So I don't have to reach inside the page protector. I just cut a little slit, and I'm able to pull that up and down and access it really easy from the front of the scrapbook page. All right. Sometimes, here's the downside of doing this. I'm marring a page protector, right? I'm cutting into a page protector. So if I ever have to adjust pages in an album, and it doesn't happen that often, to be perfectly honest, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want this page to follow this page, then sometimes I have to get a new page protector. To me, that's worth it because I just like making interactive pages where especially I do a lot of hidden journaling where you can open something up and read it, and that's just fun. So I just wanted to show you that's what I do a lot of the time.
You know, you just made me jump.
Okay, I just made you jump. Okay, I just want to show you because we have only 6 minutes. And okay, so this is my story number 2. This was the cards that I dealt myself last week, okay? But it's for this week. This is the page that you will get in the email that you receive tomorrow morning, and you can see more images of it over in the classroom, okay? But this was so fun. So this was a people story, okay? It was start with technique. Did you see my?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not a big technique person. I admire so much people who do technical, beautiful, arty, fartsy techniques on their pages. I think it's amazing, right? I don't. But that's why the technique card is in there to push me a little bit, okay? And anyway, I had to start with the technique. I had to do interview journaling again for the 2nd week in a row. And then, my Go Wild card was mix it up. And that means I have to use 3 or more photos from different times, okay?
Alyssa Williams asked, can your extra page be considered a technique?
Yeah, probably. That would have been easy. I mean, I actually went over to the Facebook page earlier in the week, so I'm like, I cannot think of a technique. And I started a thread or a discussion in the Facebook group, and I said, list your favorite techniques, and that was fun to look at. But I do actually like to paint. I don't do it very often because you got to pull out the paints, but I did decide to paint. So I started by painting the background, and this is an old May Flom. Anybody remember May Flom? She's probably still around. May Flom shared this on the paper clipping roundtable one day, and they're just cookie cutters, and I just dip them in paint, and you can kind of, depending on how big you want your star. I did stars and I did circles. See that on the background of my page. Okay. I pulled the color. I pulled it from that one big photo. That's my brother. So the page, so it's a people story. It's a story about my brother Theron. He is such a phenomenal human being. He just does so many crazy things. I just wrote, I got to read you this one part. He's a remarkable, soft-hearted, intelligent, curious, dedicated, crazy fit wordsmith. He writes poetry and songs, you guys. Weightlifter who loves his family, motorcycles, and the band 311. Is it 311 or 311?
311.
311, I said it wrong. Clearly, I'm not the walker in the family. Okay, but I just have to show you. So I went to my category drawers. For those of you signed up for Photo Freedom, you're going to love Photo Freedom. I found all of the Theron photos were in the category drawer, the people category drawer, okay? And they just span his life. Look, there's kindergarten, there's 4th grade. I just had random pictures. This is, when I left for college, Theron looked like this. And when I came back, he looked like this. And I was like, whoa, what happened to my brother? Anyway, he plays the drums. He's just an amazing guy, okay? And then I found this photo of both of us in my one of my storage binders. So those are 2 things we talk about in Photo Freedom. Now, that was great. I thought, okay, that's my mix it up. That's my technique. That's my person story, and I can write this little bit about him. But this is what I love about Story52 and this StoryDeck is it pushes us. So I had to do that interview style storytelling, right? Journaling. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? Do I want to interview Theron directly? And I'm like, no, I want to actually ask his kids a question. Okay. And he has 3 kids. They're all on Instagram. So this happened probably Monday morning this week. I just DM'd every single one of them. I said, what do you love most about your dad? You guys, this is what I love.
Did you do an interview podcast with Theron?
Yes, Theron was on my podcast, 84 and 85, which I note right here, by the way. Episode 84 and 85, podcast with Theron. Okay, so I just DM'd him. His son Dane said, I love that he pushes me to use the talents I was given and how he teaches me by example how to treat women. Also that he knows something about everything. And then I just put in parentheses, Dane. Okay. Nika says he always made it clear that he loves spending time with us and is interested in the stage we are at in life. He gives individualized song recommendations for each of us based on our different music tastes. And it's such a treat when he has one for you. Is that just so fun? His daughter Sky said, I love his ability to make me laugh every day and how he pushes us, his kids, to be successful and aim high. I think that's a treasure to have those thoughts recorded on this page about my brother. Then I was like, okay, well, I can't just use all these old pictures of Theron with these words from his kids. So then I texted his beautiful wife, Kristen, and I said, send me a current family photo. And that's when I realized I'm going to have to do a layered page, right? So she sent me that family photo. They actually went to Mexico after Christmas. So that's the current photo with the 3 kids. The 3 kids answered my questions. When you open it up, this one cracked me up. She also sent me this picture of Theron. This is my little brother, you guys. That's why it's called Big Little Brother. Because he's freaking huge.
I thought he was your oldest brother.
And he won, he does this consistently. His family loves to cruise together, and he consistently wins the Sexiest Man Alive contest on the deck for obvious pectoral reasons. Okay, that's my page. That's my story number 2, but I love it. It's a people story, and it's now in my library. I have told the story of Theron, which I just think is so, so fun. Okay, you guys. Oh my goodness, it's 6 p.m. I'm so excited you're here. Any amazing questions that need to be answered? Okay. Okay. Do you love that I have a moderator? Round of applause.
Thanks.
I love it. I love Angela. Okay. I want to just for a minute look at some of the comments you've made, but technically, officially, I guess this kickoff party is over. I'm so glad you're here. Again, if you're watching or you watch later and you're not yet a part of Story52, come be a part of it. Go to stacyjulian.com. You click on courses. This class is going to stay open probably for a long time because I just want as many people, again, to be telling stories as we can invite. And just make sure you use the 10 off promo code. That will expire. So, but it's good through the end of January. So, 10 off.
I want to hit on who May is because a couple of comments, they talked about May and she taught them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Techniques.
Yep. So May Flom is just an awesome technique scrapbooker, actually. That's how I would describe May. And she used to teach classes at Big Picture Classes when that was my company that I sold back in 2014. You can still take classes at Big Picture Classes. I'm not sure if May's currently teaching, but May's just an awesome person. So, okay. Thank you, Bonnie. You guys are always saying thank you. Awesome start. Yes. Do you feel pumped up and excited? Let's do this. Super good. I can't wait. I've already seen so many pages. Hey, Destiny. Super fun. I love that you're here. So awesome. Okay, guys, thank you. Love you. Get signed up if you're not. Tell your friends so they can come play with us and watch your inbox. Tomorrow you will get of course, you've had already the sneak peek, but it's headed to you tomorrow morning. And make sure you write down your dates for our live sessions. Maybe we'll scrapbook together. I don't know. We'll just have fun. But I just appreciate you coming. You're awesome. And choose. My other goal this year is to re-up my ability to speak German. So choose. I've been thinking German because I'm practicing.
Mine is ciao.
Okay. So, all right. See, I was going to say, wir haben Spaß gemacht. We've made some fun tonight. Okay, you guys, see ya. Bye. I hope that when I stop this, it records, right? Of course, it's YouTube. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye.
This was fun. I just went, don't you love the internet?